Although the Elvis on New Year's Eve is a really good story, it's not really what this video is all about. It's about the thousands of stories I've collected in my 75 years, the good and the bad. That doesn't make me special. Everybody has stories. Everybody has thousands of stories in their life. We don't always recognize them as being amazing or great, but if you think about them, they really are. The last video I did was about the cars that I've owned in the last 60 years or so. And I got to thinking about how each of those cars has a story all its own. As I was putting the video together, I was reminded of some of the stories that go along with those cars. And that's kind of what prompted me to do this video here about stories. It was kind of like organizing photographs. If you've ever sat down to organize photographs, I've taken thousands of photographs over the years, and every once in a while I'll sit down to try and organize them, and I get so wrapped up in the stories with each photograph that I'm so distracted by that I never manage to get the things organized. They're still not organized. And not all the stories involved with the cars were great stories. There are some bad stories involved with some of the cars too. That's part of the deal. Not all the stories in a person's life are good. There are good stories and bad stories. But it's all part of the deal, and personally I'll take them all, the good and the bad. I don't want to forget anything. I'm worried about losing memories. I don't want to lose any of my memories, the bad ones or the good ones. Sometimes you'll hear somebody say, "Oh, I wish I could forget that part of my life," or "I wish I could forget that event." Not me. I want them all. I want them all, the good and the bad. I don't want to forget anything. I don't want to give up the memories of the hard times and getting through them and what it took to get through them. I don't want to forget that. I don't want to give up everything that went around my back surgery in my 40s or my prostate surgery a few years ago. I don't want to give up those memories. I'll take them. I'll take the bad ones right along with the good ones. I'll take the surgeries right along with the scuba diving with my buddies in Puget Sound and the Elvis on New Year's Eve. I want them all. I came across a quote from Billy Graham that goes like this: "Out of pain and problems have come the sweetest songs, the most poignant poems, the most gripping stories." True enough. True enough. I'm a little afraid of losing memories. Alzheimer's runs in my dad's family, and they say that it's not hereditary, but they don't always get it right. I don't always believe them. You know, it's hard enough with just the everyday age-related memory loss. You know, there's nothing new about that. Most people go through that, and I'm going through that now myself. I can't even remember what I had for dinner last night, you know, most of the time. I know that's different. That's not really a story, but you know what I mean. The details of some of the stories from the past are gone. The high points are still there. You know, the events themselves are still there, but the details are gone. Some of them are fading. That's kind of part of the reason I put together this YouTube channel, is to get some of my memories and some of my stories down on the record for whoever. Oh, in the past, I've tried writing a diary, and I've tried journaling, but I don't have the discipline to sit down and write my thoughts down all the time. It takes a certain commitment that I just don't have to that kind of record keeping. That's why the photographs and that kind of thing suits me better. I came across an idea a few years ago. You may very well have heard about it. It was called Project 365. And the idea was to take a picture every day of something. And then at the end of the year, you'd have a picture from every day of the year to remember the things that happened in that year. And I'll tell you, when you put that stuff together in January of the previous year and view it, it's amazing everything a person does in a year. You don't think about it, when things happen one at a time, one at a time. But when you look at them in succession like that, 365 of them, it's really something to watch. At least it was for me. It is for me. If you haven't done something like that, I encourage it. It's really, it's a lot of fun is what it is. And if you're inclined to do something like this particular video here will probably post around the 1st of July. That leaves 6 months in the year. Give it a try. One picture a day. Now, personally, I usually have a couple dozen pictures a day to choose from, and I try to pick one that was relevant to that day, something that highlighted that day. Maybe in January, I'll put together a video of a little slideshow tutorial, how to put together your 365 or your 6 months worth of pictures. Do a little tutorial, and maybe we can exchange reels. That'd be kind of fun. I'm not particularly good at telling stories in person or in groups. I'm something of an introvert. Plus I have some hearing loss, some age-related hearing loss, some selective hearing I'm accused of, but that's a whole nother video that I'm planning on doing about age-related hearing loss, or hearing loss in general. Talking to the camera is a little bit easier for me for some reason. If I hem and haw, I can edit it out later. I came across a quote by someone else. I don't know if it was an original quote or not, so I really don't want to put a name to it. But it was about loneliness, and I'll just put it up here right now. That was pretty sad to me. It made me think that I could do better at listening to stories. I might not be much of a storyteller, but I could listen better. Sometimes it's hard to separate the blather from the stories themselves. We all have those friends that like the sound of their own voice and just like to talk about whatever pops into their mind. That's a little bit different than a life story, I think. I think I'll have to listen a little more carefully to be better at telling the difference between the two. I'm going to work on that. Well, thanks for stopping by and listening to a few minutes of my ramblings here. I appreciate that. And if you don't mind, in order to help me get this video in front of some people that might have an interest or might have something relatable, find something relatable in it, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that might help the YouTube to get it in front of somebody that might have an interest. Appreciate that. Peace, joy, and great stories. Oh, one more thing. Remember the Elvis New Year's Eve story at the Pontiac Silverdome outside of Detroit? Here's a little tidbit for you. On that, during that concert, not too long into the concert, Elvis split the seat out of his jumpsuit and had to go off stage and do a costume change. So there's your little bonus content for today. Thanks again. Oh, geez, one more thing. Right up here is the link to that car video that I was talking about earlier. If you're interested, have a look. Okay, I'm done now. See ya.